Troops, this is the Eagle Podcast, the home of accountability. Troops, here we are. It's Easter Sunday. I hope you've eaten your fair share of Easter eggs. I had mine on Friday, so I'm Easter eggless, but first world problems. I've been joined today by a guy who's absolutely smashing TikTok's face all over the place. No doubt throughout COVID-19, someone you know will now be on TikTok. If you're not, you will be by the end of this podcast. I want to welcome Roy Smoove. Roy, how you doing, okay?
How you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm smashing.
Good.
I've sort of been on TikTok for about maybe a year, and your feed, for whatever reason the algorithm dictates, dropped into my For You page, and I was like, wow, how's this guy making truck driving look fucking cool? So how do you do it?
To be honest with you, mate, a lot of it comes from like passion for the job. You want to enjoy what you do first of all. You can't just throw something out. You know, it can't be something that you think about and then be like, oh no. You've got to have a good positive energy, a good vibe to do it. And it just so happens that I enjoy my job. I always like a challenge and stuff like that. And I like to show people what it's all about. You know, some people just see a truck driving past and that's all it is to them. You know, they don't know what it's like inside or what I'm carrying and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd give people an insight, to be honest with you.
And what you do is, it's almost like you've brought humour, an ex-military sort of way of doing things to the job. And I think a lot of people relate to that. And was there a video or a moment where you thought, oh, I'm onto something here? Can you define that moment, or has it just really happened for you?
To be honest with you, mate, when I first downloaded TikTok, it was just a good editing tool for me. I didn't use it to go anywhere. I didn't have any. It was just a case of press a button to some music or to some recording of Step Brothers or something like that, and I just send it to me mate. I just WhatsApp it to me mate. But I was doing things, and people really seemed to like them, and the questions were more like, more deep. There was like, what do you do here and what do you do there? And I thought I could be onto something here, And I'm always giving people the time of day with whatever questions they've got. So that's where it went from there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it started out as that. Like I know a lot of people say that it starts out as this great editing tool, and that's what I initially thought. I can edit videos better for my Instagram account, but then actually I thought to myself, hang on a minute. Like, there's something going on with this TikTok. Like, don't get me wrong. I always call it the Wild West of social media because it is a little bit, it is a little bit bonkers with the type of stuff that's on there. But obviously, I started watching your stuff, and you do get this great overview of actually, I wouldn't mind being a truck driver because Roy's making that look fucking cool. Do you know what I mean? How long does it sort of take you when you're out and about your daily work? What sort of daily hours are you doing for those who don't know? Let's talk a bit of truck driving for those who don't know.
To be honest with you, mate, it can vary. It depends. If you want to put the hours in, you can do. There's always people that want to chase the hours all week and they want to max out. So your typical working day can be roughly around 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours. But you can work for 15. Legally, you can work for 15, no more than that. And you can drive for, I don't want to go too much into because it does get a bit like, yearly statistics, and you're like, but people chase the hours, usually trampers, the ones that stay out Monday to Friday, they're the ones that want to be chasing the hours. They're the ones that I want to be maxing out because it makes it worth it, They get quite a big packet at the end of the week. But there's some people that have, families at home and they only want to do the basic 9 hours a day and go home, and have a weekend away. So my job's a bit split in the middle. I've got that side of me which I can go home every now and again, and I've got the other side where I don't mind working stupid amount of hours,
Right.
And there's a perfect balance, to be honest with you.
I'm sort of interested, again, on the TikTok side, the company that you work for, how do they feel about you using the social media platform as you do? Because sometimes employers can be like, or certain sites, places that you go can be like, oh, no phones, no this, no that. Is there a little bit of wiggle room involved?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, to be honest with you, right, it's funny this because when I first started out, a lot of my content was quite crude. It was quite, you know,
Right.
it wasn't very PC. And as it grew and more, I sort of looked at those videos like, well, you know, I'm not setting myself in a good light, even though it's funny, even
Yeah.
though like, you know, I want to. So one day I just sort of looked at it and thought, I need to sort of cut this out and
Mm.
think about what, you know, what my bigger picture is. So
Yeah.
I joined WS Transport, William Stobart,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I emailed the company prior to sort of doing any more videos, and I sort of said to him, "Can I, you know, I'm a keen vlogger. I like to sort of do what I do.
Yeah.
I've got a TikTok account and social media side of things. Am I all right continuing?" And they said, "Yeah, just, you know, just make sure you're doing things by the book. You know, you're not breaking any rules and stuff." And that's where I had to sort of look at myself and think, right, all those little videos where I'm swearing too much and stuff like that. At the
Mm.
end of the day, I've got their uniform on, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to be screaming at people or, you know, and sort of being quite vulgar. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
put that stuff out, and here I am, and they're more than happy. You know, they're big
Uh,
thumbs up from them all the time.
yeah. Well, do you know what? We'll talk that because if I was the transport manager of WS, I'd be looking at you thinking, here's the guy who I'm going to use as my head recruiter because he is reaching an audience which we don't know how to reach because people find it very hard to sell driving as a job, as a career, as a way of life. And I think what you're doing with TikTok is you are a pioneer, and I really do mean that in the true sense of the word pioneer, because there'll be people watching you thinking, do you know what? He's smart. It looks like it's an enjoyable job. I can
Yeah.
see the benefits of doing it. Has anyone sort of approached you about that?
Um, I get messages all the time on Instagram. The whole reason why I set up on Instagram is because people could then ask me questions. So every day
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting messages. You know, what's it like? Is the money good?
Yeah,
You know, what sort of things do I need to do to become a truck driver?
yeah,
All that
yeah,
sort of stuff, and I'll always message them back.
yeah.
Um, but as for like the recruiting side, I mean, I just enjoy what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
And if people are going to come up to me and say, I wouldn't mind getting into that. I always tell them the truth, though. I won't say, you know, it's the best thing since sliced bread. There are downsides to everything, you
Yeah,
know. Being away for days at a time, you've got a young family, or
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, when the I mean, out at the minute when it's like this, it's brilliant because
yeah,
there's nothing on the roads, but again, there's a downside to it while
yeah,
all
of
this
course, yeah.
coronavirus is going on.
And let's sort of get into that a little bit. I have always felt like a lot of people either don't understand truck driving or they don't care. I'm not quite sure which one it is. And I've always felt that truck drivers get a bad rep and almost get treated as second class citizens. From friends who've drove trucks in the past, and the brief times that I've sort of jumped in and out of it, I've always felt like people look down the nose at you. So, and I've read some sort of things recently about places refusing drivers basic facilities, and especially in the current climate, you know, sort of COVID-19, a lot of family-run truck stops, independent truck stops, which are the best ones, are currently all closed. So you sort of dicing with the old motorway services, which have always been really, really hit and miss. How are you finding it going away and sort of managing to find somewhere to eat and wash and all that sort of carry on?
It it's difficult. It really is, and this time of year, I mean, this coronavirus and everything like this, COVID-19 has
Mm,
really tested some people
yeah,
because it's something that's never happened before. So people are out and about and they don't really know what to expect.
yeah,
Um, Although the roads are quiet and you know it's nice to get about and stuff like that. With this motorway services, yeah, you're right. Some of the facilities are being closed.
mm,
Um, there's nowhere to eat, you know. And
yeah,
these people that are out, I stayed out all last week,
right,
and luckily I found a spot which I could get hot food. Some
yeah,
people can't. So the problem with that is they're out all week, and then
mm,
of a weekend, what they do is they do a big shop,
yeah, yeah,
and they get all the stuff for the week, and they bang it in the fridges and in the cupboards in the cab, and
yeah,
then they use that throughout the week. The problem is now is there's you get to the shops over a weekend and there's nothing in, you know what I mean? Or you're queuing up for ages. You want to go to, say, Tesco when you break, you know, you say you're going to get a 45-minute break. You spend an hour queuing up, you know, in a line at Tesco. So that side of things is really hard, you know. And as for like the shower facilities and stuff like that, some places are closing down, you know, and they're not really allowed to, especially businesses. You know, it's against, you know, it's against the law really to sort of refuse any driver. And any, you know, it's basic, it's not a basic human right, you know. So
I think that's sort of a very, very key point. And when I was driving, that was one thing that would like send me almost like instantly would send me off the board. Do you know what I mean? Like I've always, probably like you, ex soldier like yourself, I'm always speak to people as I want to be spoken to. So like I'm always sort of uber nice and uber friendly. And you would go to some places, and for whatever reason, maybe you drink a lot of brews or a lot of water or whatever, and sometimes you can just think, oh, I'll just pull over here on the middle of the A50 and have a piss. Do you know what I mean? So you arrive to site, and the first thing you do when you get there, and you go on the whatever security cabin or the wherever weighbridge or whatever, and like it's happened to me before where I've walked in and I've said, oh, you know, blah blah blah, and they've gone, oh yeah, all right, and you've gone, can I use the toilet? And they go, no, and it's like, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, you ask out of courtesy, but you're not really asking out of courtesy. It's like, well, why? And it's like, I've even had people say there's no toilets for drivers, and it's like, how is that even a thing? Do you know what I mean? And like, I'm very rule savvy, and I would literally just go, right, I thought you might do this. So I used to carry around like the sort of health and safety law about duty of care. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, just put that on the table. That's one thing I feel, and I hope from COVID-19 that places of work, distribution centres, customer sites, all these places that truck drivers visit, I hope they all realise that actually, if it wasn't for the truck drivers keeping the country going, life support that it is, that if the truck drivers all got sick, trust me, this would get a lot worse a lot quickly. Have you ever had any sort of issues, or you've got a different way of handling things?
To be honest with you, I haven't had many issues with regards to like using shower facilities and stuff like that, because I've got quite a good network, a social media network, and there's places where you can sort of get in touch with drivers and say, where's about, what's doing hot food, where can I sort of, you know, sort of stuff. I mean, a lot of the places that I go to are like building sites and stuff like that. So a lot of them don't really have toilet facilities anyway, unless you're going to a big distribution center. They're going to have toilets. But I mean, I sort of go wherever I can. But again, like I say, there's a massive social networking with regards to truckers. You know, there's countless Facebook groups. There's countless, you know, if there's one thing truck drivers like to do, is talk and talk and talk. They just, there's a lot of them are full of shit and all, but you know, it's, you know, there's people out there that you can talk to and say, look, I'm in say Preston, and I need to find somewhere, where I can get a shower and get something hot to eat. So there is, and a lot of drivers all stick together at this time.
Well, you know? It's good that you brought that up, because one thing I've sort of now noticed with sort of following you is, I think the other sort of TikTok truckers, they're now all starting to drop into my feed as well. So you're creating this new community, aren't you?
Yeah, it's madness really, because TikTok was always at the start sort of looked at it like a very sort of kiddie thing, you know. It was all dances 100%. And stuff like that. And the thing is, a lot of the older sort of generation of truck drivers, even though, you know, the spot on, the sound, you know, they like to get their hands dirty, they're not familiar with these, you know, the technical side of things, you know, they're quite behind in the times, unless they like to keep up to date with it. So this is sort of a new sort of generation of truck drivers that like to keep it a bit savvy, you know, like all the little gadgets and gizmos and like, you know what I mean? I've got lads that do all like the drone footage, you know, of him driving, you know, while he's in the truck and, you know, stuff like that. Obviously not driving, but
Yeah.
you know, it's you know, there's a different generation now, which are all around this sort of TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and you know, and
Yeah.
it's a good place to be, to be honest with you. Really good.
And trucks themselves are coming a long way. Like, and obviously depending on your firm that you drive for, but what I can see from what you drive, yours is like ultra modern, isn't it? Like there's a lot of driver welfare being thought of in that truck and in that cab. Is the Scania your favourite? Is that your go-to?
To be honest with you, I mean, I've always liked Scania, but it's not really that about that with me. It's more like it's practicality, you know, and I get it, and I think to myself, well, I've driven them now for a fair number of years, so it's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
You've got a fridge and a freezer in there, and you know, all your cupboards and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and a microwave, so you can sort of set it up however you want. The thing with that is, you know, people get a bit too comfortable, you know, and they sort of think, oh, I'm going to stay in this truck all week, you know, and I like to get out. I like yeah, exactly. People just back on a bay and they just stay in the truck and that. But I like to get my hands dirty, you know.
Yeah.
So there's different people that like different things. I mean, Scania's just a nice truck, and I've always sort of liked them. So, you know, with our employer at William Stobart's, they fit all the inverters. So you can have all your plug sockets and stuff like that.
Wow.
So he's gone out and got all like the sort of good specs for it. So some companies do look after you in regards to, you know, what trucks to give you, you know, and stuff like that. So
I mean, yours looks like it's all singing, all dancing, and obviously I've seen your videos where you take care of it as well. And it's good. Obviously, you know, you can pair your phone up to the radio unit now, can't you, and play stuff through there, and sort of it seems like the truck companies are almost in this race to who can make the most alias truck. And I don't know how far we are away, but I wouldn't be surprised before like a fully electric, or you know, it is a thing. They are really going for it, aren't they?
It scares me a little bit, that, because I'm at that age where, you know, a few years down the line they might take over, but you know, I'm not ready for the Terminator to start coming after me yet, you know.
No, I mean in a sort of fuel capacity, so diesel would go, and you sort of would have like a Tesla, almost like Tesla powered trucks where
yeah. Well, a lot of the stuff now is electric, you know. It runs, a lot of it all runs off electric, you know, so it's the technology behind them. And I did a review on one of the new Mercedes, and it had these had the new mirrorless cabs.
Oh, I've seen them.
So
yeah,
there's
they
two
look
cameras
awesome.
that stick out the sides, you know. And when I first looked, I was like, is that truck lost its wind mirrors? Has he smashed them off? But it wasn't. It was these two cameras talking. I thought, that's amazing, you know. And I went up to the driver and I sort of said to him, this is the first one I've seen. Can I have a little look? Can I jump in your cab and have a little look? And he was more than happy to sort of
love it.
Say, come on, have a little look, jump inside. So, you know,
and they reduce
sort of things.
Yeah, they reduce blindside, don't they? When you're reversing off don't they move to as well? They automatically move when you're reversing and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it's all these sort of things are helping the safety, you know, and the truck driver. I mean, I've got cameras on the side, you know, my blind spot cameras, you know, because there's people that, again, they don't know. So by watching my videos, they can sort of understand how big it actually is.
Yeah.
How bad it is actually, you know, to sit in my blind spot, you know, and these sort of things. So it's just basically educating people. But yeah, you're right about the amount of like sort of, you know, technological advances to the trucks to make them a lot safer. You know, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And do you have your William Stobart followers, the guys who stand on the roundabouts and over the flyovers with their cameras, and you have to flash them and beat them? I wish we used to have them. I miss them. I got a bit jealous.
There is a few, yeah. And I get a few messages off Instagram saying, "Where are you today? If you're around, I'll come and meet you." So they do still love it. There's a guy that stands outside our yard every Friday waiting for us all to come back, because a lot of us stay out during the week, and then he comes in. So
what do you know his name?
I couldn't tell you his name. No, but he does love it. He does
Yeah,
love it, but
they do, don't they?
mad for it. But like I say, you know, there's good sides and there's bad sides to trucking. You know,
yeah,
especially with all this COVID-19 stuff, it's been quite a dark time for truck drivers. I
yeah,
was saying before about like the service stations and stuff like that, but it's also the fact that you know you're on your own for a long periods of the day, you know, and the thing is now is like I say, I've brought up a big sort of reputation, a big sort of, you know, a social thing with truck drivers,
yeah.
and it's helped a lot of people out. I've had messages saying, you know, it's you've helped me out a bit because I've been sat in a cab for 9 hours straight on my own, you know, and it's more than that. A friend of mine recently lost his dad,
Wow.
and you know, to spend 12 hours in a cab on your own with
On your
nothing but
own.
thoughts can be quite a dark. Your mind can go to some dark places, and especially now with the coronavirus, you know, he's not able to sort of speak
Yeah,
to funeral directors and
yeah,
stuff. He
yeah,
does get the time off, but again, you know, apparently you're only allowed 10 people at your funeral now with this
yeah,
you know, so
yeah.
that's weighing heavy on him, you know. So things like this, we've all got a group going and we're all chatting, and you know, we're making sure our mental health and well-being is sound. So
Yeah,
again,
you bring up a great point, because another thing that people don't realize is, um, if you are tramping away all week, some people have their own thoughts all week. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, and it can be, depending on what you've going on, and we've all got stuff going on, regardless of current situation, you know. And I feel like a lot of sort of road rage, or a lot of like things that happen on site where people lose their temper, I feel like it's down to miscommunication a lot of the time. You know, like, I've never arrived at a site like full of hell thinking, right, first person who speaks out at me, they're getting it. It's because you've maybe, you know, I mean, some of the road systems in the UK, I mean, you just, certain places like the M62 around Manchester, absolute nightmare, especially in a
yeah,
lorry. Certain parts of Birmingham, like I remember when I did the job sort of very sort of briefly and swiftly, I used to think, God, I literally wouldn't even set off. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking, I'm not driving in that traffic. Like,
yeah.
being in traffic and being surrounded by people, lunatics, and you'd be just like thinking, and it gets to you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It
it
does,
can
yeah,
it can get to you. And like, I'll admit it, like, I was like a part-time trucker, and like, if I ever got sent to London, I was like, oh, I'd rather be in Syria. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because that is one extremely weird place to drive, and you've got to be so aggressive to
yeah,
make progress. So to the guys who were down there all the time, I always used to say, like, fair play to you, mate. I hope you get loads of money because you deserve it.
yeah,
But you know, you're
yeah,
great. You bring a great point up, actually, about mental health. And one thing we talked about just before we started, um, fitness and nutrition for a truck driver. Let's chat that, because you sort of brought it up off air. Um, are
yeah,
you obviously keen? You know, we've got to look after ourselves, Roy, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've seen the truck drivers, and I have, absolutely big lads, big
yeah,
women, and you think, wow, that could be me in
yeah.
X amount of years if I don't watch myself. So,
It's
what's your
massively.
take?
I mean, the problem with trucking, it's always been this cliche of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
big greasy spoons. You know, truckers, these big truckers cafes and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah,
and there's not much physical exercise in it. You know,
yeah,
doing truck driving. You know, you're not like a labourer. You're not out and about all the time. You're not a postman walking up and down delivering. You sat in a cab again for 9-10 hours straight
yeah,
sometimes, you know, and it can't do well for you. So I went for a phase once where, you know, I was out and about all the time, and I go for runs and stuff like that. But I want to get back into it. I want to get back into like the staying away from a lot of the convenient food, with a lot of this COVID-19 going on. The good thing about it is a lot of these restaurants have been shut. So every time I
yeah.
see those golden arches, I always think, I tell you what I'll do, I'll pull in for a brew. But it'd never
Yeah,
be just a brew. It'd always be like, I tell you what, I'll have a brew and I'll have a double cheeseburger. So it'd
yeah.
be my own worst enemy. I want to start, sort of shy away from that. Take things with me. I've got the facilities in my trunk, and that's another good thing about it. I've got the things in my truck to sort of say, look, you don't need to stop off for that coffee. You don't need to stop off for that cheeseburger. You've got a nice pack of hummus in your fridge. Even though it doesn't sound that snazzy, you know what I mean? But you still, it's all about sort of thinking up here and thinking, this at the end of the day, that cheeseburger is gonna sit in my artery somewhere.
Yeah. Do you know what? I told you about my mate Lee Gibson, who has a page called Truckers Run, which is like the UK version, and there's a lot of great support in there because whatever you're doing, I guarantee you there's someone in that group who's working a similar shift pattern, or maybe goes to the similar site to sites. So you can always say, oh, well, I do this. How do you do it? And they say, right, this is how I do it. If I work, say, 10 to 12, I go for a run 45 minutes to an hour. If I do 13 to 15, I've got like a 15-minute cardio session outside my cab. So they've done something. Do you know what I'm saying? And then there's always the way. And like I was saying to you before, how they share places where they can park near gyms where we've built relationships. And there's there was a gym app where basically wherever you stopped, you'd press this gym app and it would tell you where the nearest gym was. Now, because a lot of us sort of deliver industrial states and those sorts of places, like there's 9 times out of 10, there's always some sort of gym on an industrial estate. So, like, by hook or by crook, you'd be like, 200 meters away, there's a gym. And what else is at a gym? There's a shower. So it's like, I can train and I can get a shower and I can come back to the truck and I can have a tea. Do you know what I mean? And it was a way of keeping, for me, it was a way of keeping out of the, like, I was never a drinker anyway, but it was a way of, instead of going into the cafes, into the truck stops and getting like triple burger McChips, it was like, I'd have this new routine. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there was times where it was a shit day and I just thought, shower, bed, job done. Yeah. But actually, I enjoyed traveling around the UK thinking, oh, well, I'm going there tonight. So, and I know there's a gym there. So I'm going to go to that gym. And I think that's the way around it. And Lee's page is great for that. So it's definitely something you should sort of check out and you get some great advice. And bosh, who knows, man? You could be on your way to Stack City.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's going back to before, when we're talking about social media side of things, and everyone's sort of linked together, and there's ways and means that you can sort of ask questions or get yourself into these certain groups or whatever like that, and you can find things. So it's not, like I said, if there's one thing truckers like to do is just talk and talk and talk. So,
and you've got to keep, keep yourself right, because we won't always be young forever, and further you go down the line, obviously the more chance high blood pressure, diabetes, joint pain, and all of that good stuff. So it's obviously good to keep yourself motivated. What's the goal with TikTok for you? Is it just a pure enjoyment thing, or do you ever see anything sort of commercial element coming out of it, or what are you thinking with it?
To start with, it was very so it was just a fun side of things. It was sort of building up like I said to you before, it was just saving videos and sending to my mates on WhatsApp. Yeah. Then it become a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then as it's gone on, the amount of followers have gone up and up and up. I'm on nearly 85,000 followers now. So
that's mental.
People like me content. People are starting to think, I like this guy. He gives me a good in-depth sort of view and about what truck driving is about. Yeah. I would like to go sort of more, not a business, more of an influencer side of things,
Yeah.
Sort of putting people on the right path, sort of telling people how to go about doing certain things,
And I think one thing that you do really well is you do like a brilliant sort of 2-minute review on truck stops, which I think if you were new in the business and you were thinking, I'm going to, and I'll use Google as an example because that's the one I saw that you did.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's brilliant, because if some guy comes across that and he's like, oh, I'm going to Guild tonight. Now I know where to park. I know I can get someone to wait. I know I can get a shower. Cheers, Roy. Top mucker. Do you know what I mean? And like,
yeah.
That's a great thing to do. It highlights where they are, because I think one thing when you first start tramping, and it's one thing, and I'll ask you this, Companies, I think, need to do more for drivers, as in not just say, "There's the keys, fella. You're off to so and so. Figure it out." What
Yeah.
would you like to see the progression in truck driving?
There's companies which, like you say, will just give you a set of keys and say, go on, get on with it, regardless of how much experience you've got in that job or not. And some people find it quite daunting,
100%.
There's people that are at every step of the way to getting a license and becoming a truck driver. There's people that have been doing it years and years. I've always said every day is a school day. So if you tell me something, and I've not heard it before or whatever like that, I'll sit there and I'll listen to you throughout the whole thing, 100%. No matter where you are within your life and how much experience you've built up, there's always someone that's going to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
So these lads that are sort of doing the license and stuff like that, or have never really been out of sort of the area that they've been in the Northwest, they want to go over to side. So a lot of the places, like I say, I did a truck stop review on Google, and it's just the basics. It's just sort of covering what sort of people are looking for.
It was spot on, mate.
Yeah, what the parking's like, if it's flat and level. At the end of the day, you don't want it sleeping upside down like a bat, do you?
Yeah.
Are the showers good and clean? You don't want to be getting into a manky old shower. The food, is it decent, fairly priced, and overall pricing. That's it.
There was one I went to. Christ, it was down the M1. It's right at the very bottom of the M1. It's a tiny, tiny, horrible little place, and I remember walking in there thinking, I was delivering runway de-ice at the Heathrow, right, and it was about, I don't know, an hour and 15 away, and I thought, right, that'll do. And I walked in. I want to say Watland Street for some reason. I might be wrong, but I walked in and I was like, gee, just the absolute, just like a flashback to the good old days of trucking, and the showers were absolutely minging. I remember walking in, looking at him, and just thinking, I'm not, and I just turned back around with a key, and I just handed the keys back, and the guy said, that was quick, and I just said, next time I want to murder someone, mate, I know where to bring them.
Yeah.
And he was like,
you get dirty, you're showering in it, wouldn't you? Then you would having a shower in it.
So I would, and do you know what? But on the good side of that, there is some really good ones. And I had my favourites, and I was always a fan of Lockerbie because they did an awesome omelette. Have you?
Yeah, I've been up to Lockerbie a few times. Yeah, and they're very good staff up there as well.
Awesome.
A lot of what goes a long way is what the staff are like. At the end of the day, I know that they're going to deal with a lot of miserable truck drivers throughout the time, but you can't turn up to a place and the staff be really shitty with you. So
Les Mahago is another awesome one, right? I'll tell you a little story. I was running an event up in Scotland, and I said to all the people, right, we're going to stop at this truck stop, right? And I think everyone from my sort of outdoor background was like, truck stop? Do you know what I mean? Because they didn't know any better, but I was like, trust me, and afterwards everyone was like, oh, wow, that was amazing. The food was great. The price was great. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but they do these weird, awesome cakes, but the portion sizes are like, wow, proper knockout. If you ever get the chance, mate, do a review in there. It's really good. Spot on place, but no, it's interesting what you do. I feel like you're bringing a new light to truck driving. What if you could change it? Truck driving, what would you change? What's your absolute boils your piss?
It's a lot of it is the arrogance from road users. And by doing a lot of these videos, I want to give people sort of an insight again to what it's all about. So it's giving this sort of that educational side of things to think, look, don't set me blind spot, mate. Don't jump in front of me. Give me a bit of a stopping gap, and these sort of things go a long way. And that's something that really does blow me piss, is that sort of thing where people are either right up your ass or just really slow on a motorway. There's one thing that really grips my shit, and is that people that join the motorway at 30 miles an hour, and I just can't seem to abide them. So
I mean, the people who I used to work for, they used to have an enforced 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. Like that was it. Like the trucks were all limited to 50. So like
Yeah.
we were one of the slowest firms on the road, like overtook by everyone. And like I used to always think, if I'm overtaking a car at 50, fully freighted at 44 ton, you
Yeah.
must be you must be the worst fucking car driver in the
Yeah.
United Kingdom, because this must be embarrassing. Do you know what I mean?
If you always look as well, you'll always see like a pack of tissues on the parcel shelf.
Yeah.
You always know they're going to be slow when they've got like a pack of tissues or something like that. You always know they're going to be slow.
Yeah, it's always. And you were in the army before you joined. What, did you leave the army and go straight into trucking? How was that process? How was the transition?
It was all right, to be honest with you. I had quite a lot of help from certain people.
Yeah.
I was new to it. I left. I'd done just under 12 years. I'd done so.
Oh wow!
I'd had quite a lot of sort of experience in the army and stuff like that. But army driving and civilian driving are two different things. Let me just tell you that they're two different things. I struggled to start with, and it was only because I had one of my best, who's become my best mate now, and he's 55-year-old or something like that, and he sort of put me onto everything I need to know. You know what I mean? And he stuck with me, and I'm on the phone to him every single day. Where's this? Where's that? And that's what I needed. Some people don't do that and don't get that, and he put me on the money straight away. Yeah, fair enough. I did knock a few walls down, and I've been in a few accidents, but that is just, that's just all part of the problem. You don't let things get on top of you. Don't overthink things. These companies have got insurance. If you mess up, come clean about it. I messed up. Hold your hands up, and nothing. Hopefully nothing else will be said. But some people are just at first I was pretty scared about it all. It's quite daunting.
And a lot of places that you go, like I used to sort of drive chemical tankers, so we were lucky. Sometimes we were really lucky because we'd go to big chemical complexes which have been designed to take lorries. Do you know what I mean? So like, but then you'd go to sort of some places in Birmingham, and it was like, oh well, before this it was a sweet factory, and it's like, and like some people would say, oh, it's just round there, mate. You're like, round there? It's like, you expect me to get this round there? And it's like, and there's no banksman, and you're like, mate, Howie, at least help us out. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I remember like one of my first ever jobs I did was a jackknife reverse round a tight right hand bend into a blindside left hand bend, and I was like, I was like, could you make this any harder? I was like, has this been designed to like just be almost impossible? It's just how it is, mate.
But that's the problem. Again, it's some people get thrown straight away into that, and they might be new to truck driving, and they get thrown straight into what you've just said there. And it puts them off it completely for life. And you think, what was the whole point of going and spending all that money?
Absolutely. I used to know a guy who worked on nights. He did more damage to Teesside than the Luftwaffe. Honestly, he was he was an absolute liability, man. But again, it's like pair a new driver with like, as a transport manager, say, right, I'm going to take on this lad fresh out the army. He'll be on time. He'll be smartly presented. But one thing he won't be is a great driver. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pair him up with Tommy, who's been driving 40 years. And basically, I'm going to say, right, if you're unsure where something is, phone Tommy. He'll have done it. He'll tell you what you need, and he'll be your mentor. All right, sound. But you can't just give someone the keys to a 44-ton truck and say, oh, you've got 3 drops in the centre of London. Give us a phone call when you're tipped. Because that phone call might never come. Do you know what I mean? Never. Like, it's been 5 years.
You just find your truck in London somewhere with the keys in it and getting a National Express coach back up north.
And the thing is, right, we joke and we laugh, but literally I have seen a guy do that very thing, put the keys in and just say, that's it, I'm done. Because he's had that much of a nightmare, and just walk off a job. And I'm like, Wow. No, it's crazy. Roy, we're flying through this, mate. I really appreciate you coming on. I feel like you're doing a great job on social media. You're really showcasing truck driving to be a good career move and a good choice for people,
Cheers,
however they
mate.
want to
Thank
do
you.
it.
Yeah.
And I want to sort of close down the show with what I have. There's the 5 watts. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, I've changed them slightly. Some people's routine has been affected by the current situation. Some people, it's just rock and roll.
Yeah.
So, normal. What does your day look like? How does it go about for you?
It can vary really. A lot of the days now are more sort of hospital and power plant related. So a lot of the key,
Right?
I'm dropping these big pods. I call them COVID pods.
Yeah,
That's not the name, but obviously the NHS are needing a lot of help and a lot of extra resources. So we're doing a lot of stuff like that. So with
Nice.
my high ab crane, I'm dropping these pods. And I'm going to fuel sort of nuclear power plants and stuff like that, and dropping stuff there as well. So
Yeah.
that's sort of my day at the moment. Well, days at the moment with a lot of this, this coronavirus
Awesome.
that's going on. So still
Awesome.
quite interesting, yeah.
Second one, mate. This would be one for you for in the future, I think. What workouts are you doing, or what are you planning on starting to do?
Definitely plan on joining that Facebook group you mentioned before, Truckers That
Awesome.
Run.
Yeah.
Definitely going to get behind that, because if there's one thing I did enjoy, it was running, and getting out of the cab and
Yeah.
getting about a bit and seeing, especially for a truck driver's point of view, because you're not running the same routes every time. You're not
100%.
you're not walking out your front door and
Yeah.
going, oh, I'm gonna go run down Princess Road and
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You're in a different place every time. You've
Yeah.
got these apps and stuff like that, and map out runs and stuff like that. So you're
No,
never really going to
100%.
get lost. So get out. I want to get out there, have a little
Fair
look,
play.
you know.
You'll love it, man. Honestly, you will. You'll take it right on board. Third one, mate. What have you started? Have you started anything new in these times of craziness?
I've partnered up with a few people, not so much massively. Like I've approached people saying, could I sort of get into the sort of thing that you're running with at the moment. There's a thing called Truck Fit, and it's not just not just the running side of things. It's sort of the nutrition side of things and stuff like that. I want to get behind there. Future really is just really pushing myself more on a social media platform, being more sort of educational and showing people what it's all about, to be honest with
you. Fourth one, mate. What have you stopped? For me, cinema's off.
What have I stopped? I've stopped showering. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. What have I stopped? Oh,
social distance.
To be honest with you, mate, I've stopped swearing.
Cool.
I know I've swore a couple of times in this podcast.
All right. Don't worry about that.
But I mean, on my videos, I've stopped swearing on my videos because I know a lot of my audience are quite young. They want to get into the business and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I'm wearing my company's branding, so I don't want to be seen as that that vulgar trucker, really. So I've stopped. I've stopped swearing. I've done everything a little bit more by the book now. So
awesome.
Yeah,
top man. What's the first thing you're going to do after lockdown's finished? I know you're not technically in lockdown, but still you can't go to places that you would normally go.
I'm really craving a Nando's, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right.
I'm really craving a Nando's. So I think first point of contact is Nando's. Yeah, and it's my birthday at the end of April. So
nice.
I think my birthday is going to be very, very boring as it stands yet. So I think when it does clear up all this sort of stuff, I'll have a big blowout somewhere. So
mega.
Yeah.
Roy, mate, I just want to say thanks very much for coming on the show. Again, like I said, you're doing a great job. I enjoy your videos. I know that you've got a massive following now on social media. Very, very open guy. I messaged you once and you just banged straight back to me. No drama at all.
Tell anyone who messaged me, anyone who sort of gets in touch with me and says, I've got a question about trucking or anything like that, I'm always there. Even though if it takes me a day or two to reply, if I'm busy, I'll always reply back.
Nah,
always.
fair play, man. Tell people where they can find you,
So
social media, etc.
main sort of account on TikTok is Roy Smooth. The reason why I'm called Roy Smooth actually
Because
is
you're smooth.
because a little bit smooth. Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
had it when I was skiing in the army. I used to do a lot of skiing in the army, and it sort of
Well,
stuck
okay.
then. So that was my name there. So it sort of transferred across. I kept it. So yeah, Roy Smooth on TikTok. Roy.smooth on Instagram. You should find me. It's like a little
Yeah,
emoji
you've got like
face
a
with
little
me.
cartoon drawing, haven't you? I
Yeah,
like it.
exactly. With me ginger beard and that. And I've got a Facebook page called Behind the Wheel, which is just
Nice.
again, which is a lot of just sort of based around truck driving and stuff like that. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's where I'm
Um,
at.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Roy Smooth. It's Roy Smooth by name and Roy Smooth by nature.
Cheers,
He's
mate.
he's an absolute top guy. If you're interested in truck driving or it's something that you want to know more about, you heard the man himself say he'll get back to you. Roy, look, stay safe this week, mate. I really appreciate all the key workers. You're all doing an amazing job. It's hard out there, and you're putting yourselves at risk by being out all the time. So, from me, big thanks for that, Muck. I appreciate, and I know it's a big appreciate from everyone else. So, that's Roy, ladies and gentlemen. Roy, thanks for coming on the show,
Cheers,
pal.
mate. Thanks very much. I'll speak again soon, mate. You take
Cheers,
care.
mate.
Thank
Adios.
you very much.